What's up, welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here with a review of The Regime, the new HBO miniseries starring Kate Winslet. I was anticipating The Regime, or at least looking forward to checking it out, because of course Kate Winslet's last series on HBO was of course Mayor of Easttown, Emmy Award winning series, a political satire series such as The Regime, in which Kate Winslet once again is the star. Sounds appealing, sounds interesting. So I was, looking forward to it. Also in the cast, we have Andrea Riseborough, coming off, of course, her surprise Oscar nomination for To Leslie 2 years ago. Also Matthias Schoenhardt and a little bit of Hugh Grant, developed by Will Tracy, Succession alum, Menu, script writer. Stephen Frears did some directing. All the parts are there. And yet, I have to say, The Regime really left me cold as it began. It's only a 6-episode miniseries, but I feel like I saw like most of the show in that first episode, and I just don't know if The Regime is executing on an interesting enough level to really make me want to continue watching it. And that's despite the fact that it stars Kate Winslet. I just think the central premise of Winslet playing this dictator in a Middle European country, I get all that. I get the obvious comparisons to Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump speaking to our current moment. I understand the reference points. Vernon, cozying up to a violent military type, Zubak, played by Matthias Schoenhardt. Like, I understand what the show's doing and what's going to show us. I just don't think the comedy elements really landed enough as the series began. And I feel like I already can see exactly where the plot's going to go. Like, obviously, things are going to go bad. Zubak's going to get more power, going to be very isolationist and very nationalist, and they're going to close off the country, leading to civil unrest. And Vernon realizing she made some mistakes, despite the fact that she was well-intentioned, despite her weird quirks that we see on display right away. I feel like I saw the whole show. I just don't know if there's enough comment here, enough interesting aspects of the satire. Like, just because it is satire and we understand the premise of the satire, it still has to land. It still has to make you feel something, whether that's great comedy or like really, I think, strong, metaphor, whatever it might be. But this doesn't land the way Veep does. It doesn't have that humor element. And I just don't know how cutthroat it's going to be either. So yeah, The Regime kind of left me cold, not going to lie. And I'm not really sure if I'm going to finish watching the show. Riseborough's character, Agnes, kind of interesting. Don't really understand what her role is as the palace manager. Is she a confidant? Is she a servant? It's kind of unclear. The aspect with her son and Vernon cozying up to him, manipulating him. Not really sure what's going on there. Schoenhardt's Zubak, I don't know, kind of interesting. Like, he's a pretty accomplished actor. He's been in a lot of stuff at this point, but I also kind of feel like I understand what's going on here. He's kind of like a Svengali. I've seen this show actually compared to HBO's The Idol, which is not a comparison you want, but the plotting between the influencing force on the lead character is pretty easy to see the comparison. We have all the advisors, the cabinet members, and in their obvious, sycophant status. Like, you can kind of see everything to the show. And I think if there's the one thing you can latch onto and be invested in with this show, The Regime, it's probably just watching Kate Winslet act. Because I do think she's doing a pretty good job as Vernon, as this very quirky, very insulated character, and like we have all these allusions to how she came to power and all that, but I just don't know if it's going to really amount to a whole lot. Like, the peak TV era has given us many movie stars on TV, so the novelty factor of watching a movie star lead a show, that has long since passed. So just because it stars somebody famous doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to see it through anymore, even if it's on HBO. And yeah, The Regime just didn't really grab me. I just don't think there's enough under the hood with this one, unfortunately. But let me know, are you feeling The Regime more than me, or are you kind of on the fence, such as I? Either way, let me know what's up, and for more TV reviews, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.